Galen Hour. It's always a pleasure to be here with you on Wednesday nights, and we're here tonight as promised. And tonight we're talking about the vulnerability of the tourism sector to illicit financial activities and looking at the effectiveness of our Money Laundering and Tourism Prevention Act. As you know, this season we're looking at research topics done by Galen graduates. We have in studios with us tonight both our Galen graduate and our guest, Mike Preston. Mike Preston is the chair of the BTIA Cayo chapter, and I want to welcome him in studios tonight. Welcome,
Thank you.
Mike. And Alicia is a recent graduate of Galen University's MBA program, and she did her research on this topic. So welcome, yes. Alicia. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have both of you here in studios tonight. The Galen Hour is a production of Galen University. It focuses on academic excellence, sustainable development, and lifelong learning. We are really very proud of what we are able to bring to our Belizean population and to our students, and the fact that we do foster a culture of lifelong learning, and the Galen Hour contributes to that. So we're going to get into our discussion in a minute, but we want to start with a quick ad. I am Diana Gomez Perifeet. It is a pleasure for me to host the Galen Hour. We'll be right back with the Galen Hour in a minute. Stay tuned.
Oftentimes, it only takes a spark to ignite the fire that burns inside of us. At Galen, we're committed to academic excellence, and our student-centered service is available to all our Eagles. You too can become a Galen Eagle.
Hello, my name is Jarrell Velasquez, and on behalf of Galen University, I would like to extend an invitation for men to come back to school. Young, old, near, far, wherever you are.
It all starts with a question. What if I really could become a Galen Eagle? And suddenly, the answer feels closer than ever. Get your eagle on. Come soar with the Galen Eagles.
Hi, my name is Trudy Joseph. I'm a procurement specialist consultant. My decision to pursue a master's degree in business administration at the Galen University has provided me more opportunities on my career path. The courses were very practical and applicable. Our cohort worked together for each of us to be able to achieve our academic goals. The mentorship provided the necessary guidance and support. My degree has aided me to be more rounded and versatile. You too can be a proud Galen Eagle.
Hi, yes, welcome back to the Galen Hour. In studios, we have Mike Preston, chair of the BTIA Cayo chapter, and Alicia Martinez, a recent Galen graduate. We're focusing on the tourism sector tonight, looking at the vulnerabilities to illicit financial activities. So welcome again, and thank you for joining us to all of our viewing audience. We want to start by just, if we could explain a little bit for our viewing audience, money laundering and terrorist financing are not terms that should be foreign to our Belizeans. We know we have gone through, I think it was around 2017 or so, where Belize felt the pinch of how the global world would react to when they believe we're not following the protocols that we need to. But if you could just quickly tell us a little bit about what that really is, money laundering and terrorist financing.
All right. So money laundering is basically receiving illegal money, either drugs, all illegal sources, and then you channel it through a legitimate business, and what they say is wash the money into the legal system. So that's a basic nutshell of money laundering, is taking illegal money and covering it, disguising it as legal transactions.
Oh, great, right? And terrorist financing is?
Terrorist financing is just taking the same wash money and then using it for terrorism activities. So it could be bombing or anything of that sort that isn't good for the country.
Yes, so these are two heavy terms and concepts that we're talking about, and we're focusing on these concepts with respect to our tourism, one of the biggest money earners for our country. Right? So this is important, and I thank you for taking on this topic with us tonight. So we know how important tourism is to Belize, and your research focused on the Cayo district and particularly the hospitality in sector in Cayo.
Yes, ma'am, it
Cayo
does.
district. But in general, we can still talk about how these illicit activities can impact the tourism sector as a whole and our country, right? So how can the tourism industry be vulnerable to money laundering?
Well, it can be vulnerable through like high volumes of business transactions using cash. Given that it contributes so much to our economy and our GDP, we have a lot of inflows of tourists, a lot of money, and that can be an easy way how you can wash money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed, our tourism sector is a money heavy, is that what we call it? Sector.
It's extremely.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's a mixture of cash transactions, like especially with the hotel sector. We're receiving funds for not just the hotel room, but for the meals, for the tours, any other packages. Yes.
Yeah.
So heavy cash flow is passing through.
And so that makes it a little bit more susceptible or vulnerable
Yes,
for these types of
does.
activities.
And undetectable sometimes.
And very undetectable. It could also be through credit card if you're not, if you don't refund back to the same card. That is a type of fraud, and sometimes employees aren't too sure that that is something that's illegal or something that's very suspicious. So simple knowledge sometimes in the tourism industry it's not well spoken about, or they don't do best practice, and that can hamper with compliance.
Yeah, I have a clear example of that. So I'm also the owner of Midas Resort, and going back to, I think it was 2009, 2010, emails come through, and most of the time whenever an email comes through to the office asking for rooms, asking for packages, you can see the language is a little bit off. But one time the language seemed legitimate, and they were asking for rooms, meals, tours. They even wanted us to book flights. And I told them I won't book the flights, but we'll take this credit card transaction. But I told them we'll let you know if everything gets processed after 28 days. This is going back to 2009. And what we did was we took the transaction, we contacted the bank and said, please monitor this. We have 28 days before we confirm any sort of reservation. And the bank worked with us and they monitored it. And it did end up being an illegal transaction. So we were safe, and the bank was also safe.
So it's great for our operators within the industry and in general to be aware of what are red flags. And so maybe we could then talk a little bit about what are some of the red flags that signal that, this is a little bit suspicious. You need to do exactly what you did, Mike, and do your due diligence with your bank.
For one, I know that there are like a lack of wanting to provide personal information, like if they're going in with all this cash and they'd like to book and they want a room and they want a tab and they want a bar, and they're telling you, oh, I don't want to put down my social security, I don't want to put down my passport, I don't want to give my last name. That's something that's very suspicious, because why is it that you're not willing to provide such personal information? So that could be another way or form of how they've washed the money before.
Correct. Also through refunds.
Refunds,
That's another way. They might want to say, okay, I want 5 nights. They pay everything in cash or through a wire transfer, and then they might ask you to transfer into another account. So those are some ways, yes.
And you'd find that they're okay with losing out on a portion of the deposit because they're still getting the money washed regardless.
Correct.
So they don't mind sacrificing some of that.
Yes, I read in a case study that they don't mind sacrificing it, because then you have your window where you can give up your reservation, but they don't mind losing some of that money, because at the end of the day, majority of the funds are still getting washed.
Correct.
Yeah, so indeed eye-openers for us and for small businesses, but particularly we're talking about the tourism industry. So who in Belize monitors, who's responsible, who are the agencies
I would think it's FIU.
That's always a funny, a picky question to ask. We FIU does
one.
monitor and they do enforce the AML laws. However, I'm not aware, and I'm saying this based on me personally working in the tourism industry, I'm not aware that they monitor the tourism. I know that they're more
Large transactions.
yeah, they're more with the banks and the financial services area, but in terms of tourism, no. And then we also have BTB, but they do their one in regards to the 9%.
Right.
Yes, it's still 9%.
They're more interested in making sure the 9% is there. If they're not, if the 9% is not there, then
that's
imposing penalties, etc.
Overall, your non-compliance would just be not giving them the 9%. So I'm not sure, I'm not familiar that they do go through the procedures of the resort in order to make sure that they're complying with any type of laws. I know that it's on the resort and the internal audit that they'll do their own sweep of it to make sure that they're in compliance. But if that resort doesn't have any type of procedures with that, then they're just kind of operating haphazardly.
So if you have a compliance officer at the tourism or somebody who does compliance and they see something that's suspicious, would they report that to the FIU? Is that how it works? Is that the responsibility of the tourism operators?
You would think so.
It's very informal. It's very informal. So you can't say that you will. And a lot of time there's like, especially during high season, there's a volume of transactions. You can't always, or you don't have the time to simply comb through one because the business is running. And then most of the time you don't have just one person for compliance. This one person is finance, are doing payables, they're doing receivables, they're, balancing every day, they're balancing cash, they're balancing. So it's very hard for you to sit and say, let me focus on this one suspicious transaction because you have so many coming on. Resort run 24/7. It does not close down. So you constantly have that weight on your shoulder to continue propel this business through the finance.
True. Very true. The banks do their part with credit card transactions. Depending on the size of the hotel, they may have a cap limit on transactions, and then over time they may give you a lift on the credit card charges. So, but anything, I don't know if they changed it. I think it's now 20,000, where it's detectable straight away.
Yeah, I'm not too
or
sure.
you need to sign a form with the central bank that.
So
that you're receiving this money and where's this money coming
Coming
from.
from
But
and-
other than that, there's
But
not much.
we do have pretty modern AML and terrorism financing, combating terrorism financing regulations.
Yes.
So we do have the regulations
Policy, yes.
and
We have the
policies in
policies.
place. And we do also have the Financial Services Commission, who are also responsible for compliance
Yes, ma'am.
and to ensure. We have the central bank that certainly looks at regulating what's happening with your financial institutions. And I'd like to think FIU does look at the non-financial institutions. I'm not sure in terms of the extent to which, like you're saying, they are able to monitor all enterprises.
Yeah.
And so does a responsibility then fall on the enterprise and the different operators
Right.
to do their
To do their part, yes.
Yeah.
If, and even up to the banks. If the bank is noticing a large hotel having more cash transactions, now this doesn't apply to everybody, but there should always be a balance between credit card wire transfers and cash. But if it's a new hotel, and there's a lot of new hotels on the market, Belize is continuously growing, how do you define, okay, if this hotel is only receiving cash and not credit cards, and it's easy to get lost into the system.
It seems
really is.
it's just the volume of what you have to deal with. It seems like. Right?
We still don't have that volume like Cancun,
Yes,
so
yes,
it's still manageable or detectable in some ways, but it's still that fine line of balance.
I think that we're blessed in a way because we don't have mass tourism, like Mr. Preston said, as compared to Cancun or the Mayan Riviera. So we're still able to manage what we have, but again, our goal as a country is to grow, and with that growth come risk. So I think by addressing the issue earlier on, or just making everyone aware of just best practices, this is something that we can prevent during the future.
Yeah, so I like what you just brought up. So we can do preventative measures, like making
Yes.
people. So who are we going to make aware? The persons or employees in the tourism sector. What are the things that we can do to make our Belizeans and those working in the hospitality sector or the tourism sector a bit more aware?
Okay. Well, the BTI is a great way to channel this education through informative information via so any information that like let's say Galen University or any institution, including FIU, would like to broadcast, they can use BTIA, they could use BHA, they could even use the BTB, where we have everybody's email account that's involved in tourism, and we can send information that way, or we can set up meetings and have a presentation made. Those are some ways of informing the industries directly on how to handle the situation, and also the red flags to look for in certain situations. So you could use BTI to channel those means, but who are the private institutions?
That's the problem. I know that, well, when I did my research, the industry experts, they said they're aware of it, but there's no written policy for it. So I don't know if Mr. President might as if you guys have like the SOPs, the standard procedures operations, where you make the, you train your employees on that, and then that's how they're aware of it. But I think that the information definitely needs to start flowing from the top. So if, I know they have the Belize Hotel Association meeting with like all the managers of the hotel every so often. If that's something that you can do, where you can create a workshop to provide all these managers with just like standard procedures, like this is what we need to do, this is what we're setting this across the board, then that's something that can trickle down into each resort. And we'll see that if our employees in the tourism force are learning this, whether they leave, because I know one problem as well is that with training, it's that, tourism have a high turnover. So does it matter if we train you if you're going to leave at the end of high season? But majority of the people that work in the tourism industry, they just swap. So it's going to be from one resort to the next resort. So by just doing that and training everyone, whether you move to our next resort or not, that knowledge moves with you. You're able to take that compliance with you.
Right. Even for the Belize Tourism Board, it's something that they could monitor. If for it to be a big transaction, because money laundering is not going to try and change $50. They're looking for the high thousands.
Yeah.
So it's something where BTB could probably set up their own team and watching, okay, if this is a heavy room sale, where are they going to next? And if they're not going into another hotel, where do these people go? And that's a easy way of tracking it at this level.
Yeah. Like if you have someone that's in Belize and you're moving from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel, you're not going back. And
right.
what
There's
are you
either
doing?
a border entry, a flight entry.
So it's some suspicious activity.
Yes.
And I know sometimes tourists they are a bit standoffish, because then you're here on vacation, so you don't want anyone questioning you. So imagine you reach to the front desk and people are just like, and what are you here for, and what is this card for? So it is the subtle way of asking and using your own knowledge to gauge whether or not you think it's suspicious or if it's not.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to get them defensive and thinking, because people would be offended and then get defensive, especially if they think like, especially if they're operating above board. And then you'll have the ones who know they're doing something wrong, and then they'll, because they want to detract or distract you and to leave them alone, they might make a lot of noise. So it really does come down to a lot of awareness of the ways that people may indeed react and operate, what to look for.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, especially with the hotel industry, we tend to collect finances up front. So if you make your reservation for December, we want that money up front because we don't want to lose that booking in December. So that's the other part. And then, even though we have our cancellation policies, we're not thinking about that.
Yes.
So we're just looking, okay, let's get our cut, put the rooms back on the market, and do the refund.
That's
Where-
very true.
You
That
know,
when the booking happens and if you cancel it, it's a very fast moving process because you're not dwelling on the fact that this person canceled. You're now thinking, how are we going to sell this room? We need to put this room out again. So it's not, again, you're not going to sit there and really think on this transaction and say, you know, is this suspicious? Is it not? It's like, no, we need to take it out the high season.
Yeah.
You know, rooms are there to sell. We need to sell. So it really,
it's too much of a norm. Cancellations is part of the
it's a norm,
part
yeah.
of the.
And this is why it makes the industry vulnerable because criminal minds will look at it and realize it really is a high cash industry. I mean, not everybody has time to follow the money and the actions and the transactions, you know, so ready, especially during the high season. There's just so much going on during high season
Right.
for tourism, and there are just so many businesses. Are there any particular businesses though in the tourism sector you think are more prone or to
More vulnerable
or more vulnerable? Yeah.
definitely accommodations.
accommodation
Definitely
and
accommodation.
tours,
And
because those are the two high.
Yeah, where it's just a
high,
constant in and out, in
yeah.
and out, in and out. They're just changing over rooms. So that's where most of the risk would lie.
That's
with
where most of them
accommodation.
are. Yep. And do we have a lot of small operators? Because I can see how all of this works well for establishments that have systems in place and more employees who you could designate to do that. When it's a two-man
Two-man.
and a family business
Yes.
and they're trying to survive, how do we get them to pay attention to the red flags or the
Unless they're luxury. See, if it was me to launder money, you want to you'd want to wash as fast as possible and in large quantities because you got your payoffs to pay. So you're looking at nothing less than 5,000-10,000 minimum. So you're looking at luxury properties. You're looking at large hotels, large tour operators. In that capacity, that's the market that you're trying to channel. Not so much a small property, unless you want to do some negotiating with them, and then they're in the game as well. That
that's
would be the
true.
only
and then
way.
you see these small properties start to grow really fast
Yeah.
because they
That's
have more business
Right.
and they're maybe not necessarily paying. So there are lots of little things that can pique your you know, your attention. Yep. In your research, was there anything particular that stood out? Because we know we're looking at the vulnerability within the sector, but also we are looking at the effectiveness of the Money Laundering and Tourism Prevention Act. Was there anything that stood out? And you focus particularly on the Cayo
District.
hospitality sector.
Yes, ma'am. I think one thing that stood out for me was the fact that employees and directors, they were aware of the AML law indirectly. So if you ask them, you know, what is the AML law? They're not too sure what it is. They know that they're practicing it. So they can tell you, yes, we have KYC, we have that, we only take this amount of cash, but if you, it isn't something, again, that is written down in the handbook or that we have like a structure for it. So I think something that's lacking in the tourism industry is definitely structure. I've had the industry experts even admit it themselves. They said that you need a set of policies, you need structure, this way you can maintain your compliance. So that's something that stood out to me. In regards to that as well, definitely credit cards. The fact that people don't know that you can't refund to another card, you refund to the same card. Again, basic suspicious activity is what you need to watch out for. If someone comes, they don't want to put their social, their passport, things of that sort. But just to spread common knowledge, people in the industry know. They know, they're practicing it, but again, just to have that structure for us to continue on this wavelength.
Yeah, interesting.
Very interesting, yes. Because we just know that tourism is so important to us. We see business doing well. We're proud of the growth in the tourism sector, the fact that we've rebounded so well from COVID, how well cruise tourism is doing. And I don't know how much time we spend really looking at, well, we wonder if we're jeopardizing our country or economy because of exactly how vulnerable we may be to money laundering and tourism and financing activities,
For
right?
sure, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. So we will take a quick break. As quickly as that, we're halfway through our show. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned to the Galen Hour.
My year. My life, my education. Galen University, my choice for excellence in education. Apply today. For more information, email us at admissions@galen.edu.bz or give us a call at 614-6415. Come soar with the Galen Eagles.
Hi, my name is Christian Loza, and I earned my bachelor's in business administration with a minor in economics and a master's of business administration from Galen University. I currently work as the general manager at Logistics BPO in Corozal Town. Galen helped sharpen my leadership skills and strategic thinking, giving me the confidence to manage a high-performing team in a fast-paced environment. If you're considering Galen, I highly recommend it. It's not just about earning a degree, it's about the opportunities and the confidence it gives you to excel in your career. Join Galen and invest in your future today.
Welcome back to the Galen Hour. Tonight we're talking about the vulnerability of the tourism sector to illicit financial activities. We have in studios Mike Preston, who's the chairman of the BTIA Cayo chapter, and Alicia Martinez, who is a recent Galen graduate who did her research on this topic. And just before we took our short break, we were talking about how important our tourism sector is to our country. What are some of the transactions and the red flags and things that signal that something is worth investigating further. But I wanted to go back to the economic impact and just, if we could talk a little bit about some of the possible impacts on our country. Yeah, go ahead. In this case, in Belize, yeah, in any country, but in Belize, if compliance gaps remain unaddressed.
If compliance gap remain unaddressed, Belize as a tourist destination, we face a risk of people not wanting to travel to Belize. Our tourism is based on our reputation. So I know some people like to say bad publicity is still good publicity. When it comes to tourism, it's not. It's important that you have good publicity. Again, if people see that you're allowing the misuse of, of terrorism or money in your country, people are not going to be appealed to want to come and visit your country or feel safe in your country. So even that can affect, the tourism, our GDP, our economic standpoint for all of that. So yes.
Even for investors,
Yes.
if I was an investor and I see there's a lot of corruption going on, I don't think my money is safe, especially in the banks, because if let's say the United States says, okay, Belize, your red flag, there's too much illegal activities going on with money laundering, all the banks will be frozen. So if I'm an investor, my money's not safe in a country that's practicing these illegal activities. So and we need that investment for this country to continue growing. So
As well as it becomes difficult to do business cross-border or to send money out of the country, because then you may lose your correspondent bank.
That's very, very.
And that becomes very important. We know what it felt like the other day when we were scrambling because maybe only one or two banks had a corresponding bank, right? And we have come a long way in terms of putting regulation and policies in place to ensure that we are taking the right steps. And so that is absolutely a good step, but we also need to make sure that the players, the stakeholders within the tourism sector are aware of what they need to do, because there is absolutely that ripple effect that would cause issues for our country.
Yeah. Considering as well that how much our tourism contributes to our GDP, it's not very safe that we're just allowing a gap, because again, this affects our reputation. I was told by one of the industry experts that they felt as if that the tourism industry was left untouched simply because they had a lot of big shareholders in there, and people that are investing their money. So I said it's better to leave them be, given that's where majority of the foreign investment is being pumped into our tourism industry.
Oh.
That was his personal opinion. That was his personal opinion.
Okay.
Yes, so I'd like to make that clear. That
Yes.
was his personal opinion.
Yes. But from a BTIA perspective, how do you, what is happening? What do you see as the reaction from your membership? Do they come to the BTIA asking about assistance? Are they concerned?
It's not something that it's not something that
Nobody,
people are.
nobody
No,
comes and
no.
talks
No,
about
not
that.
really.
No.
But it's something where I called the head office just to get an idea if what practices are they doing for awareness of money laundering, and not much is being done. But they are open to, if any institution would like to raise awareness, they are more than happy to comply and get more involved. But it's not something that is like on the top of the shelf.
It's truly not.
It's not a complaint or anything.
Yeah, in the tourism industry, we're looking at appealing to our guests. We're trying to make our guests happy. We don't really care what's going on in the background once we have that 5 stars. So sometimes it's not sometimes, a lot of the times, 99% of the time, you're just here, appealing to these people, and you're not sure how it's running in the background and the structures you need for it to run successfully in the background.
It is a balancing act, because if you're a business, you want to survive. You're in business for success and for profits. So especially when business is coming your way and it looks legit, and exactly, so you're taking up, as you have just both said, with ensuring that you're pleasing your customers, because you want them to come back. You want them to spread the word about how good Belize tourism is, but how good your business is and your product is, right? And so I can absolutely see how we would get caught up in providing the service and making sure that our good reputation is maintained, and along the way forget it, or it may slip by. I don't think that it is ever intentional. Do you?
No, I wouldn't think so.
It's not intentional overlooking things that are suspicious. It's more
You're caught up in the image.
and it's so much of a norm, getting cancellations is just part of it. It's
every day. It's an everyday cycle. You book, you cancel, you send out the food, you pay. It's every day. And that's what the culture of the tourism industry truly is. So, of course, it's not something, again, that you'd like to nitpick on certain transactions.
And it's not just down to single passengers or group passengers. It applies to everybody. So it's kind of difficult to
I
catch
think
it.
not only privately as well, but we see that the government is willing to invest in the infrastructure. We've built better roads, we've improved water system. Again, we're looking at a picture perfect Belize, but in the background, how are we preparing our laborers for this mass tourism that we're, making everywhere prepared for it, except the people itself and the structure itself.
So do you have any cases? Like, do you know of, I know you shared yours with Midas, Mike.
Right.
Are there any other cases in your research in the accommodation sector from businesses that you may have encountered, from people you may have interviewed, where they had to deal with compliance issue or money laundering issue?
I think there's a couple of cases I don't really want to
They're
say
not
names,
very
but,
open. They're not open about it. I will say that.
We're not calling any names.
they're not
but
open about that.
what happened down at the Placense airport, that was public news. This is maybe over 10 years ago, where there were a few investors were building a new international airport down in Placencia, and then that was cancelled due to money laundering.
Oh.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Not all.
I do know that there are some buildings in that particular part of the country that are
Right.
left unfinished. There was this huge hotel when you drive through is it Maya Beach, we call it, area?
Yeah.
There's this one big unfinished hotel, and every time I'd pass, I go like, look what an eyesore this is.
Right.
And then you hear stories of they had to stop the building of that because of
part
suspicious.
of the same investor groups.
Yeah.
So there's a few stories here and there, but to what extent does it lead to?
We're not
And I think it's mostly the U.S. getting involved at that point. I don't think it's something that Belize
on our end,
detects
no,
straight away.
no. It's from there, and being that we're so close to Cancun and that entire the Mayan Riviera, it's very easy or I would think that it's very easy for them to transition into Belize, because we're very close to it. So being that, you know, we're growing in that sense, that might be a new appeal that they have, that they can launder their money in Belize as well.
So what is the message we want to send out? What do we want our stakeholders and our people to know from tonight's discussion?
I would easily say that it would be, if you want to protect your country, if you like how the country is, the direction that we're going, to keep it safe, then these are areas that you definitely want to speak out. If you feel that some illegal activities such as money laundering is in place, then for the safety of the next generation of children, then I would say, you know, speak out and try and let's put a shutdown to it. Because imagine us becoming like Venezuela or other struggling countries that are in the same development phase as us. We will suffer harder because our population is a lot less. So to protect Belize as what we are, our identity, I would say speak out, inform the right people. You don't always have to tell everybody, but just blow a little whisper. That's all.
Because no one wants bad publicity for the resort as well. So it's not going to be a big, you know, shush, but just something that keeps us on guard. What I would say is that you have to put your personal initiative in wanting to be better as a director, as a resort. You want your employees to also reflect that. You're providing a job or the tourism industry provides jobs to countless Belizean people. And we're jeopardizing that. We're jeopardizing a stable economy. And again, like what Mr. Person said, we've been blessed to see our growth in tourism. So let's try and protect that. Let's try and protect Belize and just put in the proper structures in place.
Since you both come from the West, how much does the West contribute to our tourism?
We are the second largest
We're the
market.
Second, yes.
Within our
after San Pedro
jurisdiction.
and Kikaka, I guess.
So you do play a
Quite
critical role in contributing to our GDP.
Yeah.
And so, but do you see moving forward that you could play more of a role in providing training and awareness to your stakeholders? Is that something that your chapter could do?
We could channel it in terms of training. I would say it would take educators like Galen University to come up with a nice, easy program just to identify. And I think the hotels would definitely participate. We have our AGMs every year for BTI as well as the BHA, and those would be great ways of advertising or educating the market.
And the FIU or the Financial Services Commission, this is not a service they would offer?
I'm not entirely sure.
Not that I'm aware of. And then again, the manpower isn't necessarily there to do all of these resorts. So as much as we'd like for them to say, well, we'll audit everyone, it's just not possible in our little Belize. So again, it takes a lot of initiative from the resort to say, I want to do better, and then they voluntarily participate in these workshops to improve their own resorts.
But what, from your knowledge, what are some of the key laws and regulations that affect the tourism business with respect to AML or and terrorist financing?
One major one is just the KYC, so know your customers.
What is KYC? That is know your customers.
Know your customers. Yes, ma'am. It's KYC, so you have to know your customers.
Okay.
Which BTB requires you to get the passport, I believe, at least. But other than that, and then when you file for your taxes,
right.
you file for your hotel tax, you have to include all the information from the guests, but you can also just like brush it off and just like copy and paste in for all of them. But it is something that's a part of the AML law that is it is done by resorts, but again, if it's something that the guest isn't too willing to provide, we don't push them.
True,
So-
especially for the local market.
Yes.
You know, we don't ask our locals
We don't ask our
to put a
locals
passport
for-
number. And on the guest registration form, there's not a social security number either.
That is
So
true.
for our local market, it's invisible.
Yes,
You know.
it is.
So what is the minimum that locals are asked? So if we're
for-
checking into a hotel, what are we asked? I
That's
know.
Good question. We ask for social security just because we don't want our TVs going missing. We have somebody to identify. But I'm guessing for the smaller hotels, it's just going by their name. If I say my name is David tonight, then
It's
my name is
David
David.
and
So, okay, so for the smaller hotels, that would be what?
I would say anything. Well, it depends on the budget as well.
Yes, because they do have smaller hotels, but they're luxury hotels, so you're still required to provide some type of identification. But I'm guessing more of the like I've never
We call it low end
yeah
hotels.
like the how do you call it the
Moms and pops.
Backpackers?
the backpackers. Yes, the backpackers. Yes, I'm not sure how they operate. Though.
Okay.
I'm not.
I would think for our international market, we want to grab their information.
Yeah.
It's a requirement from BTV. But for our local
Local.
market, not much.
It's not that required.
Well, I mean, I know we'd be asked for a picture ID, and then they would take a copy
copy.
of that so they have it on file. But that is more if they go in my room and I've gone with their iron. Is that what it is? Or if I've taken,
more
I
for
drink
that
out the
than-
stock. It's
than
not
for
so
us
much
to
to
open
see.
a file just
It's
for
and then be
you.
like, let's peek through. No, it's not like that.
And it's the tools that we don't have in the country. It's like we just recently bought a magnet scanner, so you can either use your card and just tap it or swipe it through the magnetic strip. The Social Security is the only one that kind of works. Like you get a bit more information, but you don't get all the information from somebody. And those are things if the different government sectors, especially when it comes to IDs, that they put proper information. So like if you take out your Social Security, you got the magnetic stripe. All that comes up is your name, not your date of birth, not your Social Security number. So, but for us, we're just trying to make things easier at the hotel. So like if I go to the States, they swipe my card, boom, they get all the information, and that cuts down 5 minutes out of the check-in time. So we're looking at tools like that. But if the cards don't have the data inside it,
Then
it works for our international market, but it doesn't work for our local market.
Well, these are good recommendations that we could make to the tourism board, would it be, or to the Ministry of Tourism, and then they could work with the Social Security Board. I'm thinking this is how we grow and how we ensure that our sectors are being protected, that we're doing the right things, that we're facilitating the service even better. But that's interesting to know that there's some simple things that we already have in existence that could be enhanced
to
Right.
improve. Yeah.
to improve.
Right. And
the
there's some people that they don't want the information
No.
out there,
No.
but although it's already out there.
Some people are very old school,
Yeah.
and they'll express to you that they're old school.
But on your Social Security card, it don't tell you that information.
Right. But
Yes, so
Some of them
people
will
just
come
look
and-
at it and then they'll take your name and maybe write down your number,
And
but
that's it.
there's no value. But when you swipe it, now that's stored into your database. And if you're into marketing, you can use
can
that.
use that.
You can
Yeah.
use that. Yes. Yes.
So it has other implications. So it's
Right.
not only the one hotel now that has my information that becomes part of a database that could be sold or
Right.
shared, and so other people have my information. So I know we had talked a little bit about how these types of offenses or risks can affect our economy. In the Cayo district, would you say the Cayo district depends heavily on tourism?
between tourism and agriculture.
Yes.
And agriculture.
Yes.
Today I was driving with Mr. Owen from Galen. He reminded me of how much freshness comes out of the Kaya district. And you know, we don't have to wait until it hits the market and it's a little older. You get my shopping at the truck going. We get it fresh. There's just so much of our fruits and stuff that's going on. I just had to share that because I was today reminded of just how fresh Kaya fruits are, and we have to wait a little bit. Yeah.
Kaya is truly blessed.
Yeah.
Kaya
blessed.
is blessed. Yeah, it is blessed.
It is.
Every so often, I do remind myself for people that I grew up partly in Cayo. When I want to claim the beauty of Cayo. And then I moved to Belize City, and then I became a Belize City gal. But Cayo is pure love and beauty, right? So
You'll definitely want to come to Cayo this weekend.
Oh yes, yes, we're having the El Cayo Festival.
El Cayo Festival.
El Cayo Festival.
Yes.
We're bringing back education, culture, and dance.
So it is a BTIA
It's a BTA initiative.
initiative.
Yes.
This is interesting because every district has a BTIA
Correct.
initiative. So this will be the one that the BTIA does annually?
We're
in
hoping
Cayo?
it's the first. I'm fairly new to BTIA. I don't even have a year as the chair, and the entire board were all new. And our president had asked us to please do an event this year, and we got ourselves together. We started asking other volunteers to assist us, and now I believe there's close to 14 of us on this voluntary board, and we all put our ideas together, and we got the Cayo Tour Guide Association on board as well. And so like some fun activities that we're doing is bringing back tradition. When our grandfathers migrated to Belize, grandmothers, and they had their games. And because Belize has a melting pot of culture from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, throughout Central America, the games and the food that they had back then, remember they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have electricity. So we're bringing those games back. The most favorite game that I think we will have is the Greasy Pig.
Yes.
So we're doing it for toddlers, we're doing it for mid-range children, and we're doing it for adults. So that way, everybody gets.
For a Gen Z person like me, I have to ask, what is a greasy pig?
What is a greasy
I
pig?
know, first time I've heard about that.
So you get the lard, right? If you can, you shave the pig, all the hair, put the lard all over it, and you let it loose. And the person that captures the pig gets to take it home, and that's their prize for the weekend or for the month.
Oh, they call the pig. That's
the
that,
pig.
yeah,
The
this
pig,
That's the
yes.
prize. Yes, I know Galen has been asked to be there, but we do have our anthropology club that had already decided to do a booth.
Okay.
So there will be Galen presence out there, and I really do hope that this annual event is a success. Well, this event is a success, so it can become an annual event.
Right.
Because it's good to know. I know up north is a coconut and corn fest. Down south is the chocolate.
Yeah, down in
Chocolate
PG
Fest.
is the
There's a
chocolate.
mango fest in
Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yep.
And so we're
Hopkins, yeah.
seeing in every district there's a fest popping up. So
Right.
what would this one be
El
called?
Cayo Festival.
El
so
Cayo Festival.
culture,
Culture Festival.
And such irony that it's on the Day of the Dead weekend.
right?
So that's another big thing, a culture thing in Cayo, the Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And all of these things are part of what attracts tourists to come back to
Exactly.
tourists to our country. And I mean, and these are some of the things that we also market. And so indeed our reputation is important. The tourism sector is important to our economy, or the amount of people that are employed. And these are all things that you have shared tonight, right? The amount of people employed by the tourism sector.
And this year we're very lucky as well. For Cayo, we haven't had much rain, so the river is low, so everybody will get a chance to enjoy the riverbank, and that's a rarity this time of the year. Usually the rain starts early October,
And it floods
and
right
the
out.
river is flooded. So
Yeah.
we might have to adjust the date next year, but
Yes.
this year we're very lucky that
Yes.
we
well,
get to use the
we
riverbank.
pray that you have no rain,
Right.
and that it continues to be an excellent weekend for
Yeah.
your first festival, so you can have another one.
So sorry for diversifying.
No, that's okay. I mean, you got a chance to talk. I mean, I do appreciate that you took the time to be on the Galen Hour, and
Right.
so of course we allow you to talk about El
El
Cayo.
Cayo Festival.
El Cayo Festival.
A little bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd like to give each of you a few minutes to give some last words. Maybe whatever it is you want, from the BTI perspective on tourism, or from your research, things we might not have mentioned, and how either the policies and regulations, how it impacts the industry or the sector, whatever it is you want to share with our viewing audience.
I've been lucky enough to work with people that have a passion for tourism, and it's unmatched. They have a hell of a lot of dedication, and it takes a lot of passion and dedication to work in the tourism industry, because again, it's a sector that runs 24/7. So if you care about, the people that you're working with, if you care about your reputation, if you care about the economy, simply just take that personal initiative to learn a little bit more, depend on yourself, to read, to keep up with the news. That way you're able to comply on your own, and you can hold yourself accountable in your company.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I'll take the glory shot. For anybody who's a restaurant, a hotel, or involved in any tourism activity, we ask for you to become a BTI member, not just for Cayo, but there's BTIA in Belize City, all over the region. It's important to support BTIA because it's the one industry that assists everybody that's related to tourism. They're not just focused on hotels, they're focused along the board. And any problems that you're facing, BTA is the organization to lobby for you. Also, I'd like to extend this invitation to all Belizeans to come out to Cayo this weekend. Catch the greasy pig. There's also food competition, cocktail competition. There'll be zip lining. There'll be rappelling. The river will be low, so it's a great day to come out. It's a family event. We're not doing a drunk fest. It's all about the family. Come out and learn something. I promise you, everybody that comes will walk away with that little bit of extra knowledge leaving the weekend.
Yeah, so be part of our be a local tourist.
Be a local tourist.
Go to Cayo and support.
And Cayo is beautiful.
Cayo is beautiful,
I have
always.
one more thing to say. I'd like to extend a very heartfelt thank you to Galen for providing me with my scholarship. This is an Ignacio Town Council, because I was lucky enough to do this on a scholarship. I've enjoyed the opportunity to research my tourism industry in Belize, and I'm so glad for everyone that participated and helped me out. Even my previous job, where they were voluntarily helping me with my research. So I'm just grateful overall.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, it's good to hear that were you a queen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you're the queen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
very good. Well, congratulations to you on the work that you've done. All the best, Preston. This is your first year,
First year
month.
for BTA. Yep.
How many months in are you?
It's either a year or 2 years. I might give it 2 years.
You might give it 2 years,
yeah.
but you became the chairman when?
About 3 months ago, I would think so. About 3 months ago.
So good. So you're still
Still new. Still
so
new.
looking forward to how we can go. I mean, we all cherish our country, and for sure we're all aware of the importance of our tourism sector. I like the fact that we brought up this topic. I don't think it's something that, as a regular, that's not something we think about on a daily
It's not an easy
basis.
topic
I mean,
either.
It's not an easy
and
topic.
it's not one exactly. Not very many people want to talk about it, and sometimes maybe we don't want to necessarily know. I mean, if we like I said, left good enough alone sometimes, but we do know the importance, and you have highlighted for us how important it is to our economy. Our reputation is important, and so if we each make it our business, which is your call to our people, to do our due diligence, to just be aware, to be transparent, to do proper invoicing, to pick up the red flags, we're all going to then be doing our part and educate ourselves, be aware. That is one of the first steps in beating any challenge, just being aware. So on that note, I want to thank our guests for joining us tonight. Alicia and Mike, it was a pleasure. I'm sure there's so much more that could be discussed, and hopefully the stakeholders and the key players heard something that caught their attention. So ways that we can do better, improve, but also because we value our tourism sector so very much. So thank you for joining us tonight. We are always here on a Wednesday night once it's a season that's on. So we'll be back next season, next Wednesday for another episode of the Galen Hour. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you here next week, same place, same time. Have a good night.